Hi. So my groupmate Colin just discussed the solution of leaving fracking legislation up to the individual state. And now I'll be discussing the solution of banning fracking, prohibiting fracking at a federal level. So my first reason for coming to this conclusion for the solution is that fracking can heavily increase air pollution. According to Investopedia, the US oil and gas industry emits 13 million metric tons of methane annually. And obviously, methane is an extremely dangerous and harmful greenhouse gas that is a main contributor to climate change. So this leads to a 2.3% leak rate and a fugitive emission rate of 1.4% stated by the EPA. Um, and the leak rate means that certain fluids or and from fracking as well as methane gas gets out into the atmosphere or into the local water supply wherever that fracking site may be. And this is extremely harmful. The next important detail is talking about how fracking can heavily increase water pollution as well. So according to the National Resource Defense Council, activities that pose large threats to the water supply include spills and leaks of fracking fluids, injection of fluids into poorly or incorrectly built wells, as well as poor wastewater management practices. So the graphic on the left directly shows how incorrectly or poorly built wells can harm the water flow. So when there is fracking occurring, when the fracking moves through the pipe through the aquifer, if it's built incorrectly or if there are little cracks and areas for leakage, they can leak. The natural gas can migrate into the drinking water aquifers. And after it migrates into the drinking water aquifers, it can directly enter the water well that moves directly into the drinking water supply of a household of an average American family that could be extremely harmful to them. This picture shows what it looks like when these fluids and contaminants and pollutants get into the drinking water supply. And these can have extremely adverse health effects that can be extremely harmful to the human body. Um, on top of that, fracking also causes direct deforestation. Stated by Eco Hustler, 630,000 acres of American land have been damaged, especially in the woodland areas of the United States, to make space for fracking sites to enter. So obviously the image on the bottom left and right from Eco Hustler and Grist show what this looks like visually. But they don't only hurt the trees and the forest, they also hurt the wildlife that live in these trees and forests in these populations. So the clearland in Pennsylvania, which is one of the main states that has one of the most amounts of fracking sites, they don't only hurt the forest, but they also hurt the wildlife at a rapid rate. Fracking is projected to lead to an increased delivery of nutrient pollution to the Chesapeake Bay. And the Chesapeake Bay is already a bay that suffers from extreme pollution. And this was stated by the Environmental America. So if fracking continues to occur and they continue to grow on it, then more and more wildlife species and populations and habitats are going to be put at risk. And lastly, this statistic shows what I've just said in a good way. From the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, it says that 80% of the tidal Chesapeake Bay is partially or fully impaired by toxic contaminants. And this directly shows how processes like fracking directly contribute to the pollution that's going on in Chesapeake Bay, which is the largest bay, open bay in the United States. So now that I've talked about the reasons why fracking should be federally prohibited, I'm going to pass it off to Vincent, who will then talk about our call to action and conclude and wrap up our thoughts as a group. Thank you.